So this league is an epic fail. I feel that it's important for me to explain why I'm making this video, and it's basically because nobody seems to be raising awareness to this thing when to these things when they release a new league. When they do big mistake like they did now, people seem not to want to talk about it. You've got to go on Reddit and scramble to find people who are complaining. I feel like the content creators nowadays, they don't want to speak negatively about the game because it probably reduces their number of views if nobody's playing the damn league because, you know, it's shit. And I just want to be one of the people who's going to raise awareness. Hopefully, there's going to be enough people who are screaming at the top of their lungs so that GG will finally use their brains when they're releasing a league mechanic. And I'm going to explain why. And if you want to stay longer, I'm also going to explain why the patch was shit and and most modification they've done to skills are garbage. Okay, so let's talk about the league mechanic. I didn't really pay attention to the Sanctum release because I was gonna play regardless, and I was pretty sure it was gonna be garbage anyway. So I was just like, I'm gonna go and tiptoe into the mechanics and whatnot. And I wish I checked it sooner because I could have made a video because I would have known right away that it was gonna be garbage. Okay, so this whole thing is based on a dodging mechanics. You get hit by monster, it's going to lower your resolve bar, and once your resolve bar gets to 0, you're out of the Sanctum. Okay, and the Sanctums, if you want it to be rewarding, you need to pass I don't know how many floors, but I haven't managed to go past the 2nd floor. And just to make clear, I was playing a explosive arrow ballista, which is probably one of the best build to do these things because you put your totems down and you run around trying to dodge hits. So this whole mechanic by itself is stupid because the game encourages you to be as tanky as possible because they've made the game progressively harder and harder every year. And this whole mechanic is based around you dodging shit, which, let's be honest, if we go for the core game, you cannot dodge everything. The screen is such a mess when you're mapping or doing any kind of content that you're getting hit by spells. I will grant them that they did make the new spells that are used by the monsters and the Sanctum a lot more telegraphed than what we're used to. So that was, I think the intent was that you would have time to dodge them. But what they don't, and this is what makes me think that GGG never tests anything they do, okay? They don't have a team to test out their modifications because anybody who would have walked in a Sanctum at any point would have been like, there's way too much stuff going on here for people to dodge them. Why? Because eventually you're gonna have 4 or 5 monster around you that even if you put telegraphed attacks onto them, there's gonna be too much on the screen to deal with. So you could play glass cannon, but even with that, you're gonna get hit at some point and your resolve is going to go down. It's just not a fun mechanic. It's just not a fun mechanic to input into the game. But if they would have tested just a small bit of that mechanic, they would have known that it was overtuned for the resolve that it takes out when you get hit. Because I go in there with a totem build and I'm struggling to get past anything, and I get hit and hit and hit and hit, and it's not fun, it's stressful. So that's the first thing. The entire mechanic, it's garbage. It's a bad idea. It was badly implemented. I can think on the top of my head 12 ways to have done the Sanctum with a different mechanics that would have been fun for players and wouldn't have penalized 90% of the build out there. Okay, if you're not playing a totem build, a minion build, or anything that can attack for you, you're basically fucked. Okay, if you're using a spell build, you might have a shot. If you're using a dot build, you might have a shot to like somehow complete some floor before dying. But if you're playing melee, forget it. That 30% less resolve taken it's not even close to be enough. If you're playing a bow build, you're fucked because you gotta stay in place and hit, and you're gonna get stumped by spell. So the whole idea is ridiculous, okay? And this is just another example of GGG putting out a mechanic without even trying to test it. They haven't even had one little guy in the office go, hey, you know what, I'm just gonna hop on a character and try it, see how it feels. They haven't even done that. It's impossible. It's either they haven't done that or they need to fire their testing team. It's what the fuck are you guys doing? I'm not even talking about the rewards that are basically non-existent because you can't go past the floors that you need to go to have decent reward. I'm not even talking about the fact that you're in map and you gotta go into this other room every single map and spend probably more time that you could spend in some maps to do the actual league content. This isn't what we're asking for. Okay, I'm not even talking about that. I'm just talking about the mechanic itself. It's garbage and basically unplayable for most of the builds in game. Okay, so yeah, and the other thing is they have a huge problem that when they do a mechanic that you have access to in every map, they need to understand when they create leagues like that, they need to be implemented to be playable in the map. Like the Ritual League, the Breach League, you know, something quick. It's in the map, you destroy the mobs, you get the currency, and you access another area later in your, like after your 15th or 20th map, you're like, okay, I've gathered X currency and now I can open the portal to this league content specific thing that is fun to play. But here, that's not what they're doing. They're implementing another mechanic that is like, you gotta go into the Sanctum, just like Harvest, the same fucking thing. You gotta go into the Sanctum and you gotta kill monsters there that are probably gonna take you longer than maps and maybe get a reward if you manage not to die after a bunch of floors. It's fucking nonsense. It's the core idea is shit. All the oversight they've done is garbage. This whole thing is trash. Okay, so that's my review of the league mechanic. If you don't agree, feel free to say something in a comment. I personally feel that it's a major oversight. It's not a lack of balance. It's just a core trash mechanic. It's not an oversight of balance, like we're not getting enough currency or anything like that. It's not even a question of is it rewarding or not. It's a question of how trash can the idea be if you cannot implement it in a game where you have so many builds that you're supposed to be able to build, but now we're gonna shove you into a small boxes of like meta builds that are going to be able to do this, and even they struggle. Okay. And that's and now we're on to my second point. If you don't want to hear me ramble, just close the video there. The patch was trash, okay, in my opinion. The modifications, they've nerfed down skills that should have been nerfed 5 leagues ago. They've tuned down Arch Nemesis, which is a problem that they themselves implemented last league. So they haven't gave us like any candy. They just fixed the garbage they did the last league. And I'm not gonna applaud them for that. It's like you shit on the floor and I'm gonna be like, you're a really good guy for cleaning it. No, it's not. It's not a bonus. It's basic decency to fix the shit you've done last league that was not working, because again, you haven't tested anything before you release the damn thing. And that's one thing. Now I want to talk about the modifications they've done. Okay, if we go into like the only switched we've got from items, okay, we've got 6 new items that they fixed, they've buffed because nobody was using them. And as you can see, they're not all super rare, so some of them are attainable. Like if you go Bino's Kitchen's Knife, it's 24 chaos, which is crazy expensive for an early league, but it's obtainable. Okay, if you go for a Voltaxic Rift, it's 3 divine, and if you want to try the Atziri Disfavor, well, good luck, because there's only one and it's 10 divine, and we're 3 days into the league, so this thing is going to keep climbing in price, and it's not really going to be attainable for most people in this league. And that's one of the things, like if you want to bring more chase item into the game, it is fine. If you want to transform these 6 items into chase items, which means, for those of you who don't know, that are basically items that you're going to have an in-game goal with, you're like, this is what I want, like the Mage Blood or Headhunter. It's cool. I'm cool with that. But you can't just shove 6 chase items in our face that are the 1% of players are going to use, and all the rest of us are never going to touch it. And let's be very clear that I'm an old Path of Exile player, and I like to try multiple builds in a league, and I never can afford a headhunter or a mage blood because I could, but if I do this, it's gonna take me a month, and I'm not gonna be able to try more builds because I'm gonna focus on trying to obtain these, and it will force me to like trade and probably craft items and do stuff I don't want to do in the game. But I'm cool with that. Like if you want to add chase items that are basically your gravy if you've done the entire game, it's fine. But it cannot be the core thing that you add in a league, being like, hey, for the 1% of player out there that are maybe going to be able to obtain these items, this is what you get this league. No, it's trash. So we got trash balance in the game, we got trash items, and we got a trash league. They honestly, GGG, if anyone ever listens to a video, even not mine, we got to tell them, guys, that they need to hire people to try those leagues 2 weeks before. You've already hard-coded everything in the game. All you need to do is put somebody to hop into a pre-built character and test this shit out in map. Test the item. Tell you if it's too strong, not strong enough, and fucking fix it. And just be like, look, switch a couple numbers here and there, and you're gonna have a great time in the league. But they don't do that. They don't give a shit. This is the whole video. What I'm saying is that they do not give a shit. They pop out some fucking content and they're like, here's your new content, come play the league, spend money on skins. Fuck you. I'm not gonna spend any money on skins. I'm probably not even gonna play this damn thing. Like, everything's poorly designed. I wanted to try something new. At every league I want to try new builds, but and this is just an opinion, but every item that got released this league, we got more that got released, and we have a better list of what got released. Okay, if we go here, like the list got bigger, but they're basically either non-obtainable items or non-build defining. The only thing I liked was Echo Forge, which opens a pathway to multiple builds, but again, unobtainable. I'm probably going to be able to play this mid-league, maybe, and that's one build. Every other item is either non-build defining or they're just poorly designed, and they're not going to be like the highlights of the league. And they kept releasing new items that could potentially have a good combo, but they've had this bad habit in the past league to just take out every item they added. They added like 7 new items past league. They take them all out. Fuck you. You're not playing them again. If you want to play them, you got to go in standard. You're not getting them for the next league. Why? Because this could, like, if they're too strong, nerf them a bit, but this could potentially open new build path if we pair them with the new items you release. But you're shredding our build capabilities again and again and again every league. And if you go in PoE Ninja, again, this is the same ramble I did in my last video. It's basically you go here and you check for the fucking Sentinel League, and it's the same skills again, and it's the same ascendancy again. Chieftain not being used, Juggernaut not being used. Why? Because they didn't nerf or buff anything. They just don't care. They just went and be like, here's our new content, fuck you, play our game, buy new skins. See, it's the same fucking list. Like, everything's overused here and everything's underused there, and you got you got a massive amount of information on this website alone. And I'm not even a developer. I'm not even a developer, and I know, like, I can fucking balance this thing better than you just by using the information I have here. So I'm probably forgetting stuff because I was rambling to myself yesterday a lot because this league. Oh yeah, okay. So this feels like shit. And most modifications they've done to Val skills are they've been nerfing the ways for you to sustain Val skills over the leagues again, and which is not a bad thing, but by itself, but it's like, if you know we can't sustain Val skills in map, and what I'm trying to create right now is I took it off, a smite build, a Val smite build, because I'm trying to use it in a way that will allow me to clear, because basically what they've done, and this is just one of the example of the new Val skills, either the Val skill is going to be used as a burst on a boss, or here what they tried to do was use it as a clear skill, because when you press Val smite, it's going to blow up the entire screen. First of all, it only targets 30 monsters, so forget about clearing legions and Val breach in one hit, because they're not going to target the entire thing. They're just going to target 30, which is still a decent amount if you didn't put 8 seconds of soul prevention gain. If this was a intended burst on a boss and you would put like 8 or 10 seconds soul prevention gain on bosses, I get it. But if you're trying to make us use this for mapping and you give me an 8-second prevention soul gain, what the actual fuck? What was the thinking behind this? It's like, yeah, you're going to be able to clear the map. What? Once every 8 seconds, I'm going to be able to reclaim my soul. And even if I invest in it, because that's what I'm trying to do right now, I don't think I'll get it under 2 seconds, which is still kind of shit. Because if you have a 2-second soul gain prevention with heavy investment, you'll still have 2 seconds where you cannot gather those souls. You got to clear more, gather souls, use it again, spend it. It's going to be clunky as fuck. And it's like, why? If you're making, and I watched the other Val skills they've put on or have like 4 seconds soul gain prevention, and they're made for boss bursting. They're going all fucking wrong about this. They're going like against the current. And the other thing they didn't think is, okay, Val smite as a buff that's going to last 6 or 8 seconds. It's a lot longer because normal smite has a 4-second buff. Okay. This one has a 8-second duration, I think. Fuck, I don't have it. Yeah, base duration is 8 seconds. 8 seconds is a long time in Path of Exile. And I've crunched the numbers, and it has 100 more lightning damage than Wrath. Okay, so this Val smite equipped anywhere on your gear by itself, not buff, not gem, not link, nothing, is stronger than Wrath. Lasts 8 seconds, so it's going to be overused. I haven't seen it a lot on PoE Ninja because I think people didn't caught up with it, but it's basically having a stronger aura than Wrath on every single character that are going to use lightning damage, and it lasts 8 seconds. So that's going to be a boss burst thing again, and it's very powerful for that. So again, smite was only used in one very specific aura build, and otherwise it was only used to buff your damage. Now it's going to do the same shit. This is going to be used to buff Valspark, fucking brand builds, Inquisitor, lightning stuff, like it was in the past, but stronger. So it basically made every other build stronger. You think you nerfed Lightning Strike and then you put out this shit and you think that it's going to be fine? No, people are going to use this on Lightning Strike and make it even stronger, because your basic lightning damage is going to be higher on everything. Brand, it's like you have a second Wrath Aura for 8 seconds, and I haven't tried to buff it because you can buff this thing a lot. So again, it's just poor design. It's like they don't think before they put stuff out. They don't test them. So I think I've lasted long enough on this thread. Tell me what you guys think. This league is shit for me. Unless some items get discovered and it's build defining and I really want to try it, I'm probably going to try to make Val Smite work as a build, and then I'm done. Like, I'm not interested in the league mechanic. I'm not interested in trying new builds because it's basically the same goddamn meta as it was last league because they didn't modify shit. And yeah, I'm just gonna go play other games. And Diablo 4, listen to this, GGG, it's my last thing. Diablo 4 is coming. Diablo 3 was never a contender because it was a piece of shit game. And I'm not trusting Blizzard. Diablo 4 is probably gonna be another piece of shit. But if it's not, you got a strong contender. And you've been rushing for the past 3 or 4 leagues to release any decent content. So I'm just saying, if I were you, I'd fucking start taking this seriously. Hire a couple gamers, if you can't hire like coders to test the game, that know this fucking game. Make them test your content before you release it, and then you'll be able to adjust and do some modification. 90% of the items are not getting used in the unique pool that you have. It's stupid. Buff them, nerf the ones that are overused, and same things for the skills. Skills are garbage, buff them. Skills are overused, nerf them. It's very simple. Get your shit together.